When we look at Shalmaneser and Sargon in 722 BC and Israel being removed out of the land and only the tribe of Judah being left, when we look at the tribe of Judah, only the tribe of Judah being left in these lands, and we see what takes place later of the sieging of the southern kingdom of Judah during the Babylonian captivity, understand that this Assyrian captivity supposedly took 10 of these tribes. So we're talking about, if there's 12 tribes, right, 10 of them, right, 10 of them during this time were taken out of the land, separated. Now this northern kingdom was known as Israel or Ephraim. So when you look at Israel or Ephraim, understand after Israel had the Exodus from what we consider Egypt, and they came into the land of Canaan, which was separate from Egypt, which is documented, which we can see in different stelas. The Metapana stela, the Mesha stela, which show that the land of Canaan in Egypt, writing letters to Canaan, showing that there was a distance, there was a need for a traveler to provide the message for the communication. They weren't in close vicinity. So when we see the 40 years of wandering and coming into the land of Canaan and taking over the land of Canaan and coming into the promised land, from the Israel asking for a king to the Davidic and Solomon's reign, we see that when we look at Ethiopians and the Aksumite Empire and some of the first Christian nations and the Coptic cross and the crossings, these empires left their mark on the world. These ancient Negus, which we see the line of Judah and a lot of these other things, right, referring to just the southern kingdom. But we understand Israel as a nation during these times of the golden age, from David to Solomon until the 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, the Syrian captivity. This is why this is important to understand, is that this captivity and this taking of these northern kingdom, these 10 tribes out of the land, and this dismissal of the Americas, and only historical biblical reference of lands are always associated with the Middle East and Africa or Europe, right? When we look at the Greek New Testament, and the Isles of the Gentiles were looked as these Greek European isles there in the Mediterranean Sea. So these lands here in the Americas, right, these prehistoric lands, right, are excluded. However, when these conquistadors came over to this land, the same way that the Assyrian captivity took place and the destruction and the coming and taking the kingdom away from these individuals, you'll see would be similar to what the conquistadors and other European nations did here in the Americas. When we look at the curses, right, of Deuteronomy, and we see these different captivities taking place amongst Israel, we got to understand prophecy. And sometimes we over exaggerate prophecy to make it fit today's conspiracy and diminish the text of what's referring to, where we could actually show prophetic references of the curses being taken place through the different captivities of the Assyrian, Babylonian, and so forth. So then this which brings us to this New Testament, this need to find the lost tribes of Israel. So this exclusion of the Greek New Testament is also important, because they don't want you to understand that the proper purpose of this New Testament was to restore the kingdom of Israel. So they were trying to find these other 10 tribes to restore the empire. So that is missed when people talk about Christ and the Messiah. They don't understand that these disciples, these apostles, once Christ returned in Acts chapter, they wanted to know when the kingdoms of Israel was going to be restored. So this is the key. Fear of the Black Messiah, restoration, redemption, being made whole.